Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
Hello, friends, and welcome to our coverage of the Elite Division semifinals right here at twitch.tv/Reactio Media. My name is Brandon Bigsby, aka B Major, and folks, we have one of our finalists confirmed. Last Dance await the winner of our series today. If you were not with us on a Monday night, they defeated Exit in a 4-game sweep. Once again, congratulations to them. We know they'll be in, but today we find out who will be joining them for our finals coverage this weekend, as number 2 seed Mythix go up against the number 3 seed Parasite. As we take a quick look at the bracket, these two teams come into today tied at a game apiece. We will have games 3 through 7 right here on our cast today. A finalist to be decided, and let's give you a look at the bracket to show you how these two teams got here and how things look heading into today. And as we mentioned, both these sides tied at 1 apiece. Parasite winning game number 1, Mythix winning game number 2 in overtime. Both games decided actually by just 1 goal. So these two very, very close, just as they were in the regular season. And as you can see in the quarterfinals, both teams able to find their way through past some pretty scrappy opponents. Mythix beating an SSK Esports team that, despite losing in a gentleman's sweep, being defeated in 5 games, that series had 3 games go to overtime. So SSK pushing Mythix to a pretty tight number. That game could have easily, or that series rather, could have easily gone to 6, potentially 7 games, while Hymo gave Parasite just about all they could handle, pushing them to 6 games. And Parasite had a couple of games decided by overtimes as well. So 2 teams that were very much pushed in the quarterfinals, but meet here in the semifinals as many anticipated. As we transition over to the matchup between these two teams, show you how they have looked so far in their postseason runs. And as you can see, not a whole lot separating these two sides. Parasite having the slight advantage in terms of goals for, Mythix having the slight advantage in terms of goals against. And interestingly enough, their special teams absolutely identical across the board. 16.67 power play, 75% penalty kill, and the power play and the penalty kill rather interesting for both of these two teams. We mentioned the stat a few times last week, but Mythix's power play, 51.1%, highest number in Elite Division history. No other team has ever had a number higher than that, so they converted to more than half their power plays. That number has been slashed down significantly so far in their playoff run, while the penalty kill, Mythix, the best penalty kill in the division at 87.8%, Parasite right behind them at 85.71. Both teams have seen that become a little bit more susceptible so far in their postseason runs at 75%. Still not a terrible number, obviously, but these two teams have set the bar so high with what they did in the regular season. It's going to be interesting to see if their special teams units can step up a little bit, especially here in a series that doesn't have a whole lot separating between these two teams. Now, the starting lineups for both of these sides, starting out with Parasite, the number 3 seed, over on your left side, and it's the same exact lineup that we saw from this team on Monday, or rather Sunday. Vatu at left wing, Benito, the captain, at center, with Ardo over on the right wing side. While back on defense, it'll be Tombo and Temu on the left and right side. Well, in between the pipes, it will be Unique, starting once again for this Parasite team. Obviously, they've had the kind of goalie by committee between him and Fincere. It'll be Unique donning the pipes today. He started both games on Sunday evening as well. While for Mythix, the same lineup we have seen from this team all season long. Tempeton at left wing. Mike is their captain at the center spot, with Sokolo at right wing. While back on defense, Akunku at left D and Vedux at right D. Well, in goal, takedown. Now, we'll take it position by position, starting out with the centers, and it's captain versus captain at that position. Benito versus Mythix, and surprise, surprise, they have matched each other in just about every single way so far this postseason, outside of the face-off percentage, both with 4 goals, both with 7 assists, both with 11 points, and Benito actually playing one more game than Mythix has, with their quarterfinal series going to 6 and Mythix series going to 5. But again, that face-off percentage, that's going to be what's so interesting to look out for. Possession is going to be really important throughout the series. We have seen these two have so many tight one-goal games. And if you go back to the face-off numbers, however, Mythix 9-7 in game number 1, Parasite 12-7 in game number 2. So overall in this series, a little bit more even towards that 50% range. A lot of that work kind of being more skewed towards what they did in the quarterfinals. So going to be interesting to see how these two match up with each other in these next few games, because possession going to be a critical key to each side's success, with it being such a low scoring defensive based series. Now over to the wingers. I'll be lining up to the left and right of these two guys, and again, the wingers have been such a key part of what both of these two teams have done. Vatu continuing to be one of the best goal scorers in the world. 6 goals in his 8 games played, but the assists have really been what have stepped up for him so far. 14 points, 8 of them being assists this season, or in this postseason rather. While Ardo has started to find his stride a little bit, was not as impactful, I would say, in the games on Sunday, but in the quarterfinals was absolutely everywhere. You see 9 points, 8 games played, but 7 of his 9 points have been goals. So he has been a goal scoring threat for this team. Something to look out for over on that Parasite side. While over on the other end for Mythix, Templeton has continued to be nothing short of phenomenal, averaging more than 2 points per game, has 11 goals out of his 15 points. And then you have Stokolo next to him, 10 points in 7 games, 7 of them being assists. So 2 wingers that were transfers coming into this season have really stepped up and been key playoff contributors for this Mythix team. Can they continue it, and can they continue to step up? It's going to be interesting to see what can happen, especially Sokolo over on that right wing side. A majority of his goals, interestingly enough, came in game number 1 against SSK Esports in the quarterfinals. So his goal scoring production has slowed down just a little bit compared to what we saw. 2 of his goals were in that game 1. So going to be a lot of fun to see if he can step up and pick up that goal scoring production here in this series. Now sliding over to the defense, they'll be behind these guys. And again, 2 defensive pairings that are a lot of fun. You have Tombo and Temu, 2 guys that have really formed one of the best defensive pairings in the world, definitely in Europe. They've continued to be phenomenal throughout the series, and they're different flavors of defense. You see Temu, more of an offensive driver, more of a hitter, while Tombo, more of a steady defensive presence. But Tombo's up there with Temu in terms of the points as well. 7 so far for him, 8 for Temu in this playoff run. So both of them have kind of stepped up and been solid on the offensive end, while on the other side for Mythix, kind of a similar vibe, 2 different styles of defenders, but still both extremely productive. And Akunku and Vedux have emerged as one of the better pairings in the ECL this season. Akunku, a transfer that came into this Mythix team, he has been able to slot in seamlessly with Vedux, who, remember, Vedux in the regular season was one of the best point producers, not just as a defender, but in the division. He had 58 points in 30 games in the regular season, 52 of them being assists. Akunku, 34 points in his 30 games. So again, pretty similar between these 2 players, but nevertheless, I mean, this pairing has really shown that they can win games on the big stage. They've done so before. Can they do so again against the defending champs that they know they can play against, that they've had some success against? Remember, Mythix defeated Parasite in the FCL final in 5 games. Interestingly enough, if you saw Tombo's account on X, he had a little bit of a tweet about that, a little bit of fun trash talking in the slightest way, but going to be interesting to see how those 2 can carry over their success here in the rest of this series. And last but not least, the starting goaltenders for these 2 teams. And again, phenomenal across the board. We have Unique for Parasite, an 82.2 save percentage in his 4 games played, a 2 GAA, while for Takedown, an 87.4 save percentage, a 1.57 GAA, and a shutout. Takedown undoubtedly, I think, one of the favorites probably for the goaltender of the season award that we'll see given out here towards the end of the season. No question that he was going to be the starter once again. Has started every game for this team this season and has put up some of the best numbers you could possibly see. That save percentage, the highest so far of any team in the elite division in the playoffs. While for Unique on the other side, multi-time champion, multi-time playoff performer. No shock to see him putting up great numbers so far in his postseason campaign. These two are a big reason that we have seen so many low-scoring games throughout the series. I have a feeling that trend is going to continue here today. As folks, we are just a few moments and a few minutes away from getting things set up with game number 3, starting out our coverage. Again, we will have games 3 through 7, the entire remaining parts of the series right here on our coverage here today. And we thank you all for joining us for it and spending some time on your Wednesday evening with us. While we do have some time, we do want to make sure to remind you, our friends over at WellNet have a nice deal going on for you. If you go to health.sportsgamer.gg and use the code SportsGamer1, WellNet will be giving you a 1-month free trial. They have all types of amazing exercises, all from the convenience of your phone. And not only that, but they even have exercises that are specifically curtailed to us as gamers. So make sure you go to health.sportsgamer.gg, use the code SportsGamer1, and WellNet will be giving you a 1-month free trial, totally risk-free. And if you like them, make sure you stick with them. WellNet, one of the amazing supporters of SportsGamer and the ECL. A big thank you to them. We would not be able to do what we do without them. So again, health.sportsgamer.gg, put in that code SportsGamer1 and get yourself that 1-month free trial. And WellNet, not the only ones with an offer going on, as we also have our friends over at Game Changer. If you put in the code SportsGamer10 at checkout, go to GameChangerOfficial.fi, make sure you use that code. Game Changer is giving you a nice little discount code on your purchase. They have multiple amazing supplements, whether it's for focus, whether it's for memory, whether it's for sleep and relaxation, or whether it's for recovery. Game Changer has it all there for you and all at the ease of just 2 capsules a day. So make sure you go to GameChangerOfficial.fi, put in that code SportsGamer10 at checkout, and Game Changer will be giving you a discount on your purchase. So a big shout out to Game Changer. Make sure you take advantage of that deal. Again, one of the great sponsors of the ECL. And folks, make sure you're right back with us here on Friday. In a little bit less than 48 hours time, we will have our ECL 1v1 Spring Top 4 Finals. You see a couple of familiar faces that will be participating potentially in the ECL Elite Final on the 6v6 side. Temu, who we'll be seeing in action here in just a few minutes with Parasite, he'll be going up against Kapusta, who we currently see in our Twitch chat. Best luck to you, sir. While our other matchup, Sisu, going up against Nikki Dangles, who we will also see on Sunday or Saturday, he being a part of that Last Dance group. Our coverage will be starting at 18 CEST. I will be on the call with you along with Sopali, so make sure you do not miss that. Twitch.tv/ReactioMedia. You can also find us live on our YouTube at ReactioMedia or on our Twitter/X account at SportsGamerGG. So make sure you do not miss that. Temu versus Kapusta, Sisu versus Nikki Dangles. We will be going from the top 4 all the way to the finals and crowning a 1v1 champion. So make sure you join us for that right here on Friday evening at 18 CEST start time. You're not going to want to miss that, especially if you are a fan of the 1v1 action. So much going on this time of the year. We got 1v1 stuff going on. We've got Elite, we've got Pro, we've got all of our divisions here in the ECL. So much fun to keep a track and a blessing to be able to call all of it and be a part of it with you guys. So make sure you do join us for that. As again, we are just a few minutes away from getting our puck drop of game number 3. While we do get things set up and have a few moments, let's kind of talk about some of the storylines between these two teams for maybe some of you that were not with us for our coverage on Sunday. Parasite, the defending champions, won the championship last season, had arguably one of the most dominant campaigns we have ever seen, lost just 1 game in the regular season, and then followed it up with a dominant playoff performance, swept the quarterfinals, defeated Foyt Matone in 5 games, who are now Last Dance, who are in the finals, by the way, and then were able to defeat Musa Kulta in 6 games in the finals, brought everyone back aside from Nikki Dangles, but replaced him with another one of the best wingers in all of Europe in Arda. They're looking to defend their crown, but they have a new challenger trying to swing at their head. And you know what they say? If you best swing at the king, you best not miss. Mythix have a chance to potentially hit their strike. Remember, as we mentioned, Mythix defeated this Parasite team in the FCL finals just a few months ago. It went to 5 games. They defeated them 3-2. And Parasite, they remember that. We saw that from the tweet from Tombo a few days ago before the series started, basically saying, hey, they got us, but that's not happening again. Mythix, a team that is a little bit newer. The talk about this group coming into the season is, are they a championship contender? They make the playoffs year after year after year. This is their 3rd season in the Elite Division. Can this be the season where they push forward into that upper echelon of teams in Elite? Well, they did it, and they've done it in style. Number 2 seed, dominant throughout the regular season, and their playoff run has gotten them here to the semifinals. And interestingly enough, Mythix, a team that has not a single game of finals experience throughout their roster. This will be the first time that anyone on this team has played in the finals, while for Parasite on the other end, as we mentioned, finals experience across the board. 5 of their players were on that championship team from a season ago, and Ardo, the one player that is new on that roster, played against Parasite in the finals with Mustakulta last season. So going to be interesting to see who Last Dance potentially could be facing off here in just a few days. They could either be facing a familiar face that we have seen them go up against in the finals plenty of times in the past, or we could potentially see one of the new teams in the ECL break out and turn themselves into a finals contender. We saw that with Mustakulta a season ago. Mythix looking to add their name to that list. You see the teams all ready to go in the lobby. Again, we'll be going games 3 through 7. The series currently tied at 1 apiece. As far as these guys want to take it, that is as far as we will go right here again at twitch.tv/Reactio Media. So make sure you stay tapped in with us here for the remainder of the evening. These 2 teams have been back and forth. They have recent history. They have had tight games, and there is a spot in the Elite Division Finals on the line. You're going to not want to miss a single second of this, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you stay tapped in with us here today. We will be watching from the perspective of Mythix. They are wearing their all-navy home uniforms, while Parasite in their road white and reds, as we get set for game number 3 of the semifinals, Parasite versus Mythix, and we are underway as Mythix win the opening draw in the neutral zone. As Akunku will set up the offense here and moves this over to Vaydux, but an offside called as the wingers were just a step ahead there. He tried to work his way into the offensive end. Face off here upcoming between Mythix and Benito. As it's won by Benito, and Parasite going to move this thing forward. Ardo going to dump this down low. It's in front, but picked off there by Mythix. As we mentioned, these 2 sides, they've played 4 times in total this season between the regular season and postseason. 3 of those 4 games went to overtime. All of those games were decided by 1 goal. So do not be surprised if you see a low-scoring affair where there's not a lot separating the 2. There's an offside called there as Benito tried to cross the blue line. But again, don't be surprised if you see a low-scoring contest between these 2. A lot of saves, a lot of defensive plays. It's going to be all about capitalizing on your opportunities. Both of these 2 teams had a couple of days to look back at the film, talk things over, and kind of see how they want to approach the rest of the series. As Parasite work it into the offensive end, it's controlled by Tombo and give it down to Benito. Tried to pass it in front, but Tempin in there to pick that off. Blow over at the right boards. Looking to create some space, but nothing doing for him as Parasite create the turnover and now work down the other end. This is Temu controlling it. Goes off of his stick, but he gets it back. Battled for and found by Vaydux for Mythix. Vaydux with some speed. Gets it back there at the high slot. Gives it over to Tempin. At left corner goes to Sokolo behind the net. Moves it up to Vaydux. Vaydux works it back to Sokolo as Mythix set up the cycle here. 2 teams that love to work the puck around in the offensive zone, but it's turned over right there. And here comes Parasite on the counterattack. Benito, nice little move there. Shot on in front, puck loose. Found by takedown. And he'll hold on for the stoppage as that is the first shot of the day for either side. Parasite will get it registered. As you get a quick look at the face cams for both these 2 teams, one of the fun parts of once we get the playoff time, seeing All these guys dial it in real time, and we'll see that throughout our broadcast coverage here today as Parasite have it in the offensive zone. Is controlled by Temu at the high right point. Gives it up to Benito, who works it down behind the net. Tied up on the boards and turned over as Mythix do a good job of putting that possession to a halt. Tapping it at the left boards. One-time save from Unique. And he'll hold on for the stoppage. And we talked about Unique, one of the illustrious goaltenders in this division, a multi-time champion. You get another look at the replay over the top left of your screen. He is someone that has carried his team the championship goal before with saves just like that one. And bookmark that if this ends up being one of those one-goal games yet again later on as Parasite get it out of their own end and Temu controls it now in the offensive zone. Gives over to Tombo and now to Vatu. Back to Tombo at the left point and over to Benito at the slot. Puts on a move and a shot, but it's blocked in front. And now Mythix will work their way forward. Sokolo gives it over to Vedux. They work it over at the right wall and go down low to Mikes. Mikes at the left corner, bump from behind, found by Ardo. Approaching the 6.5 minute mark. Still looking for our first goal of the game. Each side with one shot. Again, a defensive battle that we just don't really see a whole lot of opportunities, but the ones that you do see are high quality. It makes a goaltender's job so hard. As a shot there was blocked by Tombo, and Parasite now working it down the other end. As Vatu wasn't able to keep that, and now Mythix will set up the offense and slow things down a bit. Approaching the 4-minute mark to go here in the first period of Game 3. As an offside call as that puck hit off the boards on that pass attempt over to the left side. As a neutral zone face-off coming up between Mikes and Benito. As we mentioned, Benito stellar at the face-off dot here coming into this series. Not able to win that one as Mikes ties it up, and Mythix trying to work it in the offensive end, but it's turned over. Vatu gets the pass from Tombo, moves into the offensive end, but loses it, and now here comes Mythix down the other way. Sokolo at the right boards, hit off of that puck by Vatu, and he gives it up over to Ardo. Puts on a move, but defended well there by Akunku and Mikes, and Mythix now looking to counterattack. And to retreat and slow things down. Didn't like what they saw in front of them. That's something else we'll see a good bit of. Both these teams not afraid to reset the play if they don't like what they have. They have it in the offensive end now, but turned over on the pass attempt to Templeton. As Ardo controlling it and gives it down low. After a shot across there, it was stopped by takedown. And now Mythix will look to get a chance with just 6 seconds remaining here in the opening frame. Turned over in the neutral zone. Temu with it for Parasite. Shot on, gloved in by takedown. And that will do it for the first period. No score, but a couple of opportunities as we saw Parasite get a couple of shots there towards the end of the first period, and then the best chance so far of the day, that one-timer from Mythix that was denied by Unique. Now it's a 0-0 score after 20 minutes, and again, so far, we've gotten exactly what we've expected, a tight game that is just about capitalizing on opportunities. And you see the stats. Time and attack rather even. Both these teams a little bit over 2 minutes, just not much in the way of shots on net. As you take another look at that save from Unique, the one-time shot from Sokolo, and Unique with a pair of saves there, the one-timer there, and you saw Mikes even get another shot on net there late. Not sure why that one didn't register as a shot on net, but a pair of critical saves there for Unique to keep this thing tied at 0. And as we get set for period number 2, we want to make sure that we thank and shout out our amazing sponsors, COVID on Lakuritsi, Game Changer, and WellNet for their amazing support of ECL and SportsGamer. What we do would not be possible without them, as a shot on there from Ardo was stopped by takedown. We're seeing Parasite start to get a couple of shots on net, slowly but surely working their way in. As Parasite have an offensive zone draw here coming up. One in the defensive end by Mythix, and Sokolo trying to move it up the right boards, but Templeton a little bit too antsy and an offsides call. first goal going to be really interesting to see. Is again, a game in a series like this, just never know if that first goal could end up being the only one you get in that game. Neither team panicking to get it, but just amplifies the importance of limiting those mistakes, not allowing that easy, clear-cut opportunity that the other team can take advantage of. Is Parasite not able to do much there in the offensive end, and here comes Mythix. Tempin controls the shit. Gives Mythix the opening goal and a 1-0 lead here early in the second period. Yeah, get a look at some of the faces there on the bottom. A couple of smiles, but a calm demeanor over on the Mythix side of things as you get a look here at the replay. The pass across the Vaydux, the shot in front. Unique not able to get to that one. And Mythix with a 1-0 lead. These teams are always right on time, aren't they? We just talked about that first goal is going to be so critical. Mythix ends up finding it just a little bit under 4 minutes into the second frame as Mythix have possession once again. This is Mythix controlling it, moving up to Sokolo. Back to Mythix. Mythix controlling it, poked from behind, but found by Vaydux at the point. Shot on tip in front, but stopped by Unique. Sokolo got a piece of that. And all of a sudden, Mythix starting to buzz a little bit here. Parasite trying to slow things down as they have possession. They move it into the offensive end. It's found by Vatu at the left corner. Gives it up to Tombo at the point. Back to Vatu. Vatu pass over at the right corner, but it's picked up by Mythix, and they'll now set their offense up. Sokolo controlling it, trying to pass it across, finds Mythix. Mythix at the left face-off circle. Gives it up to Akunku. Now the Tempin. Tempin at the left wall. Skating forward, trying to find a pass, and goes to Sokolo. Up to Vaydux at the point. Looking for space. Loses that puck. Nice poke check there from Vatu, and now Parasite working on a counterattack. Approaching the halfway point of this game. Mythix with a 1-0 lead after the goal from Vaydux. The series tied at 1 apiece. We will go all the way through today until we have a series winner. Last dance awaits one of these two teams in the finals later this weekend. As Vatu controls it behind the net, was poked off his stick, but found by Tom. The pass and shot across, stopped by takedown. That was Tombo who was denied on that one. Mythix will set up the offense here. They're slowing things down once again. Kunku breaks it past the blue line. Scrum for that puck found by Benito. It's Vatu trying to get a hold of that puck, and he does. Gives it over to Tamu, trying to pass it across, but disrupted. Gets it back, however, in the corner. Big hit there laid on by Vaydux, and here comes Mythix down the other way. Sokolo at the right boards, but under duress and turned over. Ardo with the defensive play. 5.5 to go here in period 2. A shot on! Takedown! Ardo on the backhand, not able to squeak that through. And takedown with his 6th save on his 6th shot seen. And an offensive zone draw here coming up for Parasite. To the left side of takedown, one in the defensive end by Mythix. Mike stepping up on the faceoff dot so far. As Mike's pass a little bit off and picked up by Ardo. Parasite working down the other end. Vatu at the right boards, gives it up to Benito, now the Tamu, to Tombo at the left point. Working for space, shot on tip, but swept aside by takedown. Mythix working it forward now. Mike's with it, bumped off of that puck, and that's going to force Mythix to reset. 2.5 to play here in the second frame. Mythix holding on to that 1-goal lead. The goal from Vaydux, the one that gives them that advantage. As Parasite still trying to work their way into the offensive end, they finally do here. Tamu controlling it, looking shot, hits off the post. Mythix with possession for now, as Vaydux pressured by Benito and it's turned over. Vaydux able to get it back, however, and now Mythix able to get out of their own end this time around. 10 seconds to go. Parasite pick up possession as Benito moves into Arno. Now to Vatu at the left side. Vatu loses possession as that will do it for period number 2. Mythix with a 1-0 lead over Parasite. The goal from Vaydux early on that second frame gives them the advantage. You see a couple of sips of water from a few of the players. They look to hold on to this lead. Parasite looking to find the tying answer. As you get another look at the goal from Mythix, it gave Mythix that advantage. His first goal of these playoffs, he had 6 in the regular season. We talked about Mythix, an offensive driver for this Mythix team. 58 points in 30 games as a defenseman, the highest of any player in the division at that position. As again, you get one more look at it here. Tempinen, the gold helmet wearer for this team for a reason, means he's a top point getter. He finds Mythix in stride, hits him perfectly, and nothing Unique could do to make that save. As you take a quick peek at the stats, Parasite with the advantage in terms of shots and time and attack. 7 shots over 6 minutes of offensive zone time, but just not able to break past the defense and goaltending of Mythix. Can they do it here in the third period? We'll find out as we are underway for the final 20 minutes of regulation. Teemu controlling it, and a shot from Tombo was blocked in front. As Parasite wasted no time getting into the offensive end, but not going to stay there for long as Mythix on the counterattack. Poked off of the stick of Tempinen. As Parasite get back into the offensive end. Benito controls it. Puck loose in front. Shot on was stopped by takedown, excuse me, is hit off the post as well. Mythix controls it in the offensive end. Trying to find some space. Under duress by Benito. Finds the man. Shot on was stopped. Another shot saved this time by Unique. And he'll hold on and freeze it with 16:24 to play. So an offensive zone draw coming up from Mythix. One of the first that we have seen from them in this game. Feet to the right side of Unique. One in the defensive zone by Parasite as it's moved up by Tavatu, but Parasite going to be forced to reset. As Sokolo controls it, moves it back to Akunku. Over to Mythix. Sokolo reverses over to the left point. Akunku controlling it, looking for a play. Not able to find anything there as it's turned over, and here comes Vatu at speed, moving it to Tombo. Tombo at the left wall, passing front, shot on from Benito, blockered away by takedown. Parasite still pressuring. Vatu to Tombo. Tombo holding it, shot on, potentially a rebound chance, but it's found by takedown first. We'll hold on for the stoppage. Save number 10 for takedown today. As it looks like Mythix will call a timeout. As they saw that full pressure meter getting filled. As we'll get another look at the chance from Mythix a little bit earlier on. As you see, just hits that right pad of Unique. You get another look at the chance there in front just now from Benito. That takedown was able to get his blocker on. As Parasite gets set for an offensive zone draw here. One back to Vatu. Scrum for that puck as he couldn't hold on to it, and Mythix take over possession. Mythix with it, but an offside call as it found its way to Tempinen. 12:08 to go here in the third period. Mythix holding on to a 1-0 lead still. The goal from Mythix early in the second period is the difference maker so far. Parasite looking to find the tying answer. Mythix looking to either extend their lead or hold on to that lone goal. We'll see if they can do it. So we approach the halfway point of this third period. Parasite have it in the offensive zone, but not for long as they lose possession. As Mythix has it, moves it forward to Sokolo. Shot was blocked as Tombo takes possession over for Parasite. Trying to work it in the offensive end. Tombo at the point, gives it over to Teemu, now to Vatu. Over to Benito, shot hits the side of the net, and takedown eventually finds in front of him, and he'll hold on once again, not taking any chances. As once again, remember to check out our ECL 1v1 Spring 25 Final. We'll be live right here at twitch.tv/ReactioMedia, Friday at 18 CEST. As a shot on there from the point, stopped by takedown. Another shot going to be stopped by takedown. It still frees it again. As one of the players participating in that 1v1 final on the ice right now, Teemu, the right defender for Parasite. See him over at the top left corner of your screen. He'll be going up against Kapusta, while Nicky Dangles will be facing off against Sifu. Shot from Vatu, denied by takedown. Enough 1v1 talk. We've got pressing 6v6 matters on our screen right now as Parasite trying to find that tying answer, but nothing doing so far. They're in the offensive zone again, but can't hold on to it as Akunku gets that off of the stick of Ardo. Zocalo moves it down low. It's found by Mythix at the left corner. Bump from behind and it's turned over. 6 minutes remaining here in regulation. Parasite trying to find the tying answer. Akunku tied up on the boards. Mythix ends up getting it. Finds his way to Tempinen. Bumped off that puck in the neutral zone. Teemu controls it and gives it up to Ardo. Now to Vatu. Vatu back to Tombo at the point. Down by Benito at the high slot. Back to Tombo again at the left point. Over to Teemu. Time shot stopped by takedown. Mythix not allowing another chance as they move it forward into the neutral zone. Approaching the 3-minute mark here in regulation. Parasite looking for the tying goal. Could this be their opportunity? They have it right now as Teemu has it, but not able to find that pass in the middle as it's turned over. And here comes Mythix working down the other end. Tempinen controlling it at the left wall. Moves it up to Akunku at the left point. Trying to pass across to Zocalo, but it's picked off by Tombo. And here comes Parasite in the offensive end. Puck given chase, found by Mythix, but recovered by Parasite. Tombo moves it up to Benito. Less than a minute to go. Tombo at the left corner, back to Benito. Benito moving forward, holding, can't find any space, but recovers by Vatu, and Vatu couldn't get the shot off. Gets it back, however, at the right wall. It's a shot, one time shot hits the post, but it trickles in! Teemu ties it for Parasite! In a wild bounce and turn of events, Parasite knocked this up with 40 seconds to go! We won't get a replay of it, but the goal counts all the same. Mythix trying to respond. They have it in the offensive end now, but could not get anything going as here comes Parasite down the other end, but an offside called with 25.5 remaining. Neutral zone face-off coming up here. Tied up and won by Parasite. They'll set up the offense as Tombo will slow things down and get the offense set up. Dumped in, given chase, found by Vatu. Tied up on the boards by Zocalo and kicks it over to Tombo at the point. To Benito. Pass across. Glove save by takedown. And they'll freeze it with 6.7 seconds to go. You'll get another look at it at the top left of your screen. Offensive zone draw for Parasite to the left side of takedown. One back to Tombo. To Teemu at the point. Needs a shot. Puck loose in front. Doesn't get one off. And folks, we are going to overtime for the second time in this series. The third time for these two this season. They went to overtime twice in the regular season. So for the fourth time, we are heading to an overtime period. As folks, let us know, who do you think is getting the game winner on both sides? As you get another look at the replay of the goal that tied this thing up, we'll get a closer look of it here more likely in the replay. As the one-timer from Teemu, you see it right here, the pass from Vatu over to Teemu, hits off of the bottom post. It sits over on that right line, that red line. Looked like Benito maybe poked it in, but Teemu gets the credit for the goal. And you see the final chance there from takedown. You thought Vatu maybe had the game winner right there, but just was not able to beat takedown on that glove side. Just able to make that save to push this to an extra frame. We are underway for overtime here in Game 3. We want to make sure we shout out our sponsors, COVID I'm Not Gonna See, Game Changer, and WellNet for their support of SportsGamer GG and the ECL. Parasite, 17 shots, Mythix with just 4, yet here we are in overtime as Teemu controls it here for Parasite and gives it to Tombo to set up the breakout. Moves it back to Teemu. Teemu pass in front there, nearly squeaked its way past takedown, but he'll make sure to get the stoppage and makes that save. 18th shot of the day here for Parasite. Face off to the left side of takedown. Offensive zone draw here for Parasite, but it's tied up and won in the defensive zone by Mythix. Moved up to Sokolo and finds a Kunku. Turned over right at the blue line as Parasite tried to work it down the other end, but an unsuccessful pass will force them to reset. Look at the overtime records for these two teams in the regular season. Both of them rather solid. Mythix 4-2, Parasite 5-3. That does not include the playoffs, as Mythix 3-1 in the playoffs in overtime games. Parasite 1-1. They have it in the offensive zone now. It's Tombo moving it forward, trying to find some space for a shot or pass. That pass attempt to Ardo picked off by a Kunku. Now Mythix will try to push their way forward. Again, just 4 shots so far in the game for Mythix. They have it now in the offensive zone as Kunku had that poked off his stick, just dumps it in and has to retreat. Defensive Parasite, phenomenal so far in this game, will be enough to carry them forward to a win. It's a shot from hits the post. Ardo, the leading goal scorer for this team so far in the postseason, had 7 coming into the day, nearly had the winner there. As Tempinen finds the puck in the offensive end from Mythix. The move on. Another overtime victory for the number 2 seed. A 2-1 win, a 2-1 series lead for Mythix. As we get another look at it, the shot on from Tempinen and Sokolo on cleanup duty right there. Johnny on the spot to put that one in on the rebound. Unique not able to get to it. And we've talked about the story of Sokolo. He came over from Roots Gaming, a team that was relegated last season, defunct, no longer existing. Sokolo, a player that, despite playing in multiple seasons, had yet to make the playoffs before in his career. This is his first time here. He had been chasing, pushing to get to this point, and he has been nothing short of phenomenal for this Mythix team so far in their playoff run. He gets the overtime winner against the defending champions, and Mythix take a 2-1 overtime win and a 2-1 series lead. Man, oh man. And how crushing is that for Parasite, being the better team for really all of that game? We'll get a look at the final stats, but Mythix only had, I believe, a total of 6 shots on net in this game. Parasite with 18. And yes, that is the final number, 18-6 in shots. So Parasite tripling the shot total of Mythix, but they come up short. As we'll take a look at all 3 goals here in this one, as that was the opening goal from Vedux. The cross pass over to him. He puts that one through without really any problems. But then Parasite in the final minute able to tie things up. Teemu's goal that just squeaks in as you get another look at it here. The pass from Vatu over to Teemu. Save originally made by takedown, but right there it gets poked in either off of the stick of Benito or off of the glove of takedown. And that's what brought us to overtime. But you see the shot on from Tempinen leads to a rebound. Sokolo right there to put it in. No one there to stop him. And it gives Mythix a 2-1 victory in overtime as we bring it back into the booth here. Brandon B. Major Bigsby with you, as, man, what a way to kick off our broadcast coverage. And we were talking about the story with Sokolo, his 12th season in the Elite Division. This is his first time making the playoffs. He was looking for this opportunity for a long time. He's had some opportunities. He's been on a lot of teams that have ended up finishing 9th, for the top 8 teams make the playoffs. Man, he has taken advantage of his first playoff opportunity. He gets his second overtime winning goal of the postseason, puts his team up 2-1 here in the series, as now we have a critical game 4 coming up, and Parasite, the defending champions, for the first time, have their backs against the wall. Mythix with a 2-1 series lead heading into a all-important game 4. When we get things set up for that, we're going to hear a word from our sponsors, take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have Puck Drop for that game 4 right here, twitch.tv/ReactDealMedia. Folks, you're not going to want to miss it. Do not go away. We'll be right back in just a few minutes.
Welcome to the SportsGamer Health and Performance Program. Nice to have you here. Here you have a large amount of different workouts from Wellnet, but also material just exclusive for you gamers. In your sessions, we focus mostly on neck and shoulder mobility, back health, and concentration. So give it a try and let us know what you think about it.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
All right, we are back and ready to go for game number 4. Thank you all for sticking with us. Mythix, a 2-1 series lead after a 2-1 overtime victory. A massive game with high implications here. As we are underway for game number 4, we are again watching from the viewpoint of Mythix wearing their road white and blues, Parasite in their home all red uniforms. We've seen Parasite in this position before, and they always seem to step up in these sorts of games. Can they do so again here? Cannot afford to go down 3-1 as Mythix have it in the offensive zone. While for Mythix, on the other hand, you gotta feel like this feels like an opportunity to really put a stranglehold on this series, to get Parasite in a vulnerable position. And against a team that, again, are defending champions, have multiple multi-time champions on their roster, and Tombo and Temu and Benito, etc. This feels like an opportunity that you cannot afford to squander. So as big as a game as this is for Parasite to stay in the series, it feels just as big for Mythix to really get a firm grasp on this series, as the save from takedown leads to an offensive zone opportunity for Mythix, but not able to hold on to that puck. So a lot on the line here. We're either going to see a 3-1 series, or this thing's going to turn into a best of 3 as Unique picks up that puck and will hold on for the stoppage. So an offensive zone face-off coming up for Mythix to the left side of Unique. One back in the defensive zone by Parasite, and it's moved forward to Benito. To Vatu. Vatu with speed, trying to pass across, but disrupted, and he gets it back. Moves it up to the point to Tombo. Tombo to Benito at the high slot. Shot was blocked in front by Mike's, but picked up by Ardo. Turned over as Mythix able to get out of their own zone. Again, every single game between these two this season, both regular season and playoffs, has been decided by one goal. 4 of those games going into an overtime. So these two have had little separate them. That trend has continued so far today. As Zocalo moves up to Akunku at the point. Skates his way forward and gives it back to Vedus. Trying to find some space, but didn't have much. And Parasite trying to work down the other end on the counterattack. Poked off with the stick of Temu. And found by Vedus, but he gets it back. Temu looking for a play from Ardo. Stop by takedown. Another play. Another stop by takedown. Mythix looking to avoid danger, but not able to do so. Turned over. Benito has it and controls it at the right corner. Gives it up to Tombo at the high point. Holding on to it and goes over to Vatu. Now Benito behind the net. Benito looking, moves it to Tombo back to the point, trying to give it back to Benito. Shot doesn't go on. As Mythix will now take over possession. 8 minutes to play here in period 1. Looking for our first goal of game number 4 still. As Mikes has it at the left corner. Skates his way to the slot. Shot was blocked in front by Benito, but Zocalo gets it. Another shot there. Found by Unique. First shot registered on net for Mythix. Gives Unique a slight bit of trouble, but he's able to hold on for the stoppage and an offensive zone draw coming up for Mythix. 7:02 to play here in this opening frame. The left side of Unique, one defensive zone draw by Parasite. Tombo moves it forward to Benito and gives it to Ardo. Ardo up to Temu. Trying to find Benito, and Benito couldn't find much after that, and now Akunku up the left wall with speed. Gives it to Tempinen, poked off his stick, but found by Vedux behind him. Now Tempinen gets it back at the right corner and goes back to Vedux. Vedux over to Akunku. Shot hits the helmet there of Ardo. Is an offside going to be called with 4:41 to play. If you go back to that game 3, Parasite had all of the chances, 18 shots on net, but only 1 goal to show for it. Mythix scoring 2 goals on only 6 shots. So just goes to show, once again, it's all about being opportunistic in this series. Mythix able to do so there in that game 3. Parasite looking to do so here in the offensive end as Tombo controls it, passes it in front of Vatu as Poked off his stick as he tried to get the shot off. Benito controls it and gives it back to Tamu at the point. Tamu back to Benito at the slot. Looking shot on, blocked in front. And found by Mythix. Sokolo controls it at the left boards and gives it to Mikes. As puck loops and goes in. It was hanging out the blue paint and it just trickled in. Mikes will get credit for the goal. You see Heath even laughing about it, not sure how that one went in. As you get a up-close replay of it right there. And well, they don't ask how, they ask how many. It doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to count. It doesn't even register as an official shot on net, but Mythix with a 1-0 lead here in Game 4. Parasite looking to find a response. Tamu with the point gives it to Tombo. Tombo to Benito. 7 seconds remaining. Mythix get it there as they're going to just hold on to this puck and kill off the rest of the time. As that will do it for the opening period of game number 1. Mythix with a 1-0 lead. After Mikes gets credited for that goal late in the period as a few saves from takedown, keeping Parasite honest, and it only took one shot that was saved and a non-shot that ended up in a goal to give Mythix that 1-goal advantage that they currently hold. As here's another look at it right here. As, yeah, we're gonna have to get a closer look at that one, as I'm sure we will get another look at it here. A big thank you to the streamer over on the Mythix side, providing us with all of these instant replays right as we see them. As you get another look at it here, it's kind of deflected off of the stick of Mikes. It was well defended by Parasite. Both Tombo and Tamu were right there for it. Which kind of hits off of the skate of a Parasite defender and trickles its way in past Unique. So an unfortunate break for the defending champions Parasite, but they still just find themselves down by 1 as we're underway for period number 2. We want to shout out our amazing sponsors once again, Covenant Locracy, Game Changer, and WellNet for their support as Mythix. We're trying to thank them with a goal right there. That pass across, though, was intercepted. They get it back in their own end and set up the offense. Latu gets it on the turnover, and Tombo will set up the offense for Parasite. Trying to move it forward to Benito, but nothing doing there. As again, that's what this series has been. Not a lot of opportunities, just all about taking advantage of the ones that you get. As Tempinen has it over at the left corner and moves up to the point to Akunku. Over to Tempinen. Hooked off his stick, given chase, and found by Benito, and Tamu will now get it and moves his way up the boards with speed. Finds Ardo, backhand shot was poked off his stick. A chance there as the puck was loose in front. Mythix will end up getting to it. Sokolo controls it, but slows this pace down. Didn't like what he saw, so Mythix will reset things and try again on the breakout. And they'll do the same thing again. Third time the charm, they'll dump it in. And they're going to just give that one up as Tombo will get to that puck, and Parasite will now look to do the same. Moved up to Benito. Benito holding it at the high left point. Gives up the Tamu, one-time shot, stopped by takedown. Another chance there from Ardo. Denied by a takedown, who will hold on for the freeze. We talked about how phenomenal takedown has been. North of an 87 save percentage so far in these playoffs. It's just as good in the regular season, top 5 in the division in save percentage. Mythix have possession here, and Sokolo gives it over to Vedux. Turned over there as it was poke checked off this stick by Vatu, but Mythix gets it back. Lose it right over again. Again, a defensive battle between these two teams. You can see a lot of that back and forth in terms of possessions changing. See it again right there as Parasite losing the offensive end. Here comes Mythix down the other way in the offensive zone. Pass in front, bound by Tempinen, now behind the net. Looking for a play and gives it up to Akunku at the point. Akunku holding and searching for an option. Gives it up to Mikes. Pass in front, loose, and finds his way to the right corner. Sokolo picks it up, but poked off his stick by Tombo. Here comes Parasite, and potentially with numbers. Temu at the left boards, holding it and gives it to Ardo. Down low, passed over to Vatu, now the Tombo at the point. Evades a defender. Tombo pass in front, puck loose, picked up by Akunku, and Mythix avert any danger, and they're working down the other end again. Akunku at the point. Pass in front, shot on, stopped by Unique. A nice save there from Unique. Second shot registered on net today here in this game for Mythix. Tombo controls it at the point for Parasite. Holding it and gives it up, a shot from Temu, stop from takedown, puck loose behind the net, found by Mythix. Can they get out of their own zone? And they will. Templeton with speed and space up the left wall, finds a Kunku, try to pass it in front, puck loose, hits the post, a shot! He cleans it up in front, and all of a sudden, Mythix have doubled their lead to 2. As you get another look at it here, that puck was just kind of bouncing around in front. Templeton right where he needed to be. We've talked about how critical Templeton has been. He's the gold helmet wearer for this team. That means he is the leading point getter. And in this playoff run, he has been nothing short of spectacular. As he gets another goal, his 12th of this playoffs. And Mythix up by 2, and Parasite in dire straits here potentially. Down 2-1 in the series, down 2-0 in the game. Has off of the post, off of Unique, and into the back of the net. 3-0 your score. And you get one more look at it. That puck did a lot of bouncing, but it bounced in all the right directions for Mythix. And Parasite gonna have to pull off the comeback of all comebacks, down 3-0 now in this game. Remember, they were down 2-0 in game 2. They tied it up 2-2, pushed it to overtime. Scores off the post and snipes it past Unique. And the defending champions are the victims of a rout right now here in game 4. Mythix won't even let me set the storylines up. They're scoring so quick. As Vaydukes with his second goal of the day, his second of the postseason. And here we are, we're talking about comebacks and this, that, and the other, and Mythix just keeps separating themselves. A 4-goal advantage here in game 4, and they have possession here yet again. And boy, oh boy, how the guard can change. Another shot, that one saved by Unique. Mythix still pushing. Templeton controls it, 20 seconds to go. Found by Sokolo at the right corner. He is under a lot of duress, but still holding on to that puck. Finds its way to Vaydukes, but it's turned over. Benito up the boards with speed, tried to slap that on net, but was bumped from behind, and that will do it for period 2. And oh, what a second period it was for Mythix. 3 goals and a 4-0 lead now, as they find themselves just 20 minutes away from taking a 3-1 series lead. Last dance awaits the winner of this series in the Elite Division Finals this weekend. And speaking of Last Dance, a shout out to Landstrom, who is in the Twitch chat right now, one of the defenders for that Last Dance team. Congrats again to you guys on your series victory on Monday over Exton. They swept Exton 4-0 in that series. As we'll get another look at the multiple goals scored by Mythix, that one being the first. Unique just not able to get a hold to cover that puck, and Templeton was able to get to it and put it in, and then just a matter of about a minute later, really less than that, Templeton puts it in off of the back of Unique, off of the post and into the net. And not long after that, Mythix came down the other end, sniped it with a top shelf where the kids can't get it, and Unique, he was right there with the kids, couldn't get that glove hand side there, and Mythix with a 4-goal lead now. After we had just been talking about how defensive this series has been and how really neither side can find their way past 2 or 3 goals, Mythix gets their way to 4. And if Parasite wants a chance at coming back, they're gonna have to find their way to 5 goals. They got a shot on there, but it was saved by takedown, so an offensive zone draw coming up for Parasite. And if you are Parasite, where is the morale right now? Again, this is the team of champions, a team that won the title last season, has multiple titles between them, as a shot there gloved in by takedown. We just look at this group. Championships for Teemu, championships for Tombo and Vatu during their days with Tunnel Vision. Benito, obviously, multiple championships with H-Reds as their captain. Unique, multiple championships. Ardo, the only one without an Elite Division championship on his resume. And he went to a finals last season with Mustakulta. This is a team that has seen just about everything, but never have we seen Parasite in this situation. Down 4-0 in a critical game 4, where they're already down 2-1 in the series. So, not familiar territory, but if any team could potentially make the comeback happen, it would be this Parasite group, as they're working in the offensive end. That's a cross there, but interrupted by Akunku. Parasite still pushing in the offensive end, as Teemu controls it, and Mythix not able to get it out. A one-time attempt there from Vatu, but the pass was picked off and cleared out, as it'll be Mythix getting that puck first pass across there, disrupted. Nice defensive play there made by Parasite. Could have very well turned into a 5-0 game there. It's an offside call on Parasite's counterattack down the other end. It's going to be interesting to see where Parasite can go from here. All for Mythix, who are looking for their first ever ECL Finals appearance. Again, they won the Finnish Championship League over Parasite. Went to a 5-game series in a best-of-5. Defeated them 3-2. But they have never been past the quarterfinals in the Elite Division, in the European Championship League. They got there with their series win over SSK Esports. They're in the semifinals and looking good so far, but still a little bit more business to take care of. 11.5 minutes to play here in the third period. And even if they do hold on to this, it's a best-of-7, not a best-of-5 like that FCL championship. So, gonna have to win one more game after this one, but nevertheless, they've put themselves in position. This Parasite gonna get an offensive zone draw here coming up. Face-off will be to the right side of takedown. One back to Tombo. Tombo shot on, was blocked in front and went wide. A battle for, found by Benito. Pass in front from Teemu was blocked on the one-timer. Parasite still pushing. Vatu one-timer from Teemu goes wide. Just not able to get one dangerously on takedown, and now Mythix in the offensive end and pushing. Mikes gives it over to Tempinen. Shot on, hits the bottom right post. As Mythix gonna just reset here as a big hit there taken by Sokolo. Now Parasite gonna set their offense up down the other way. Tombo dumps it in, found by Ardo. Pass in front, wide again. 3 good shots, but none of them finding takedown. And here comes Mythix, 2-on-1. Tempinen shot on, but glove save by Unique. Third save of the game for Unique right there. He's seen 7 shots so far. You gotta feel for him as the goaltender. There's really not a whole lot he could have done about most of those goals. Really, the lone goal that we've seen that he maybe could have gotten was probably that 4th goal that we saw from Mythix. That snipe on that top right-hand glove, and just wasn't able to get to it. But everything else, just kind of pucks trickling in past them and not a whole lot he could do about them. We approach the 3-minute mark here in regulation. Mythix look on their way to a win, but a chance here for Parasite. As Vatu has it, but it's poked off of his stick by Akunku. He gives it up to BKs and eventually finds Tempinen. Tempinen has Sokolo with him. Sokolo holding it at the right wall. Bumped off that puck from behind. Picked up by Temu and now found by Vatu. Moved over to Ardo. Turned over there on the pass attempt towards the slot. Let's turn back over. Benito has a... Breaks the shot. Mythix. And though it will be tough to see a comeback here with such little time left, Parasite do at least get one on the board and will at least have a little bit of positive momentum heading into game number 5. Let's get another look at it here. Benito finds Ardo. And takedown, just not able to get to that one. Parasite gets themselves on the board. Makes this a 4-1 scoreline, and less than a minute to go. We'll see if Parasite can maybe pull off the improbable, but they have it in the offensive zone right now as a delayed penalty going to be called against Parasite. So we'll see a power play barring a goal here. Tempinen controls it as that puck ends up finding its way to Unique, and Benito will be heading to the box for Parasite. So any chances of a potential comeback more than likely squandered right there. As the captain, Benito, will have to watch the rest of this one from the sideline. So a power play here for Mythix. As they try working in the offensive zone. A shot on there. Saved by Unique. What a great acrobatic save there. As Mythix continues to push in the offensive end. They aren't satisfied with just 4. They're looking for 5. As they cycle it around. Another shot. A great save again there made by Unique. 20 seconds to go. And the one-time shot. Unique. And another shot. Another stop. Mythix still pushing in the offensive zone, and they have full pressure. As Unique just going to play this one out. Parasite going to dump it out. But Mythix, a 4-1 win in Game 4. And folks, the defending champions are now on the brink. Mythix have taken a 3-1 lead in the series and are just 1 win away from the first finals appearance in their club's history. As you saw a little bit of a note there from Mythix. Didn't get to make out what that was, but this is a Mythix team that is quite confident, and you can't blame them with the way they're playing. This is a Parasite team that they're not afraid of. This is a Parasite squad that, you know, obviously has the mystique of being multi-time champions, being one of the most dominant teams we have ever seen in the Elite Division over the last couple of seasons. But Mythix, they've beaten them before. They're one of the few teams that can say, hey, we've beaten this team in a series in the past. We've won a championship against this team in the past on the FCL side. And as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Parasite did not forget that. Tombo, he made that tweet over on Twitter, obviously all in good fun, but it kind of said, we're not gonna lose to these guys again. We lost to them the first time, they got the best of us that time, but we're not gonna let it happen twice. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Well, Mythix 1 win away now from knocking off Parasite and punching their ticket into the finals. So we get a look at all the goals there from that Game 4. We saw that first goal. That one right there was the second. And really after that, I mean, Mythix pretty much slammed on the gas and never looked back. As Tempinen with yet another goal, it hit off of Unique and into the back of the net. See, off his back, off the pipe and in. And the fourth and final goal, that was really the exclamation point. Mythix with his second goal of the series, the second goal of the playoffs, had all of that space there. That's going to be one that I think defensively Parasite want to have back. Really didn't cover Mythix on that play much. He was able to snipe that top right shelf, and then you get that final goal there from Parasite as Benito creates the turnover from Mikes. Nice job avoiding the defender, finds Ardo in stride to at least break the shutout here. As Parasite able to get one goal, but not able to get enough. Mythix a 4-1 win, and they now take a 3-1 series lead. And folks, we've got some fun stories on our hands. Some may consider this an upset considering the history of Parasite, but with what this Mythix team is, what they have been over the last 3 months, I gotta be honest, this isn't too much of an upset. Maybe it would be if they were to win this in 5 games. However, still have to make that happen. Mythix a 3-1 series lead. Game number 5 coming up. 1 win away from the finals. Parasite looking to keep their championship defense alive. Can they do it? We will find out in just a few minutes. But before we get to that, we're going to take a break. Hear a word from our sponsors. Do not go anywhere, my friends. Grab a snack, grab a drink, do it while you can, because we have more fun action coming right up on the other side of this break.
Welcome to the SportsGamer Health and Performance Program. Nice to have you here. Here you have a large amount of different workouts from Wellnet, but also material just exclusive for you gamers. In your sessions, we focus mostly on neck and shoulder mobility, back health, and concentration. So give it a try and let us know what you think about it.
minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
All right, we thank you for sticking with us as we thought we were going to have the game going underway, but it looks like there was a bit of a lobby issue. So we'll bring you into the booth here with me, Brandon Bixby with you, better known as B Major. And folks, we've got a fun story here developing. Mythix, a 3-1 series lead right now over the defending champions Parasite. He just won game number 4-1. As I do have a moment, we'll give you one more quick look at the bracket for those that maybe weren't with us earlier on during our open, just to show you how these two teams got to this point. As we mentioned, Last Dance is waiting for the winner of this series in the finals. They defeated Totarit 4-1 in the quarterfinals, swept Exton 4-0 in the semifinals on Monday to punch their ticket into that last round. Finals coverage will be live right here at twitch.tv/reactio media this weekend. We'll have the exact day and times as soon as we have it. However, the big story right now, Mythix and Parasite. Mythix, they defeated SSK Esports in the quarterfinals in 5. Parasite defeated Hymo in the quarterfinals in 6. They meet here in the semifinals, and every game has been close up until that game 4 that we just saw. They have met 5 times so far this season, twice in the regular season, 3 times in the playoffs. Every single one of those games were decided by just 1 goal, including 4 that went into overtime. However, in game number 4, everything shifted and it went in the way of Mythix. Obviously, as we mentioned, that 4-1 victory, 4 unanswered goals. Parasite found their lone goal late in the 3rd period. And all of a sudden, things are kind of, the storylines are shifting. Mythix looking to make their first ever ECL final. They have emerged as one of these top teams. But again, the question was, are they a championship contender? Everyone was asking that coming into the season. And they were one of those teams that kind of felt stuck in this 5 to 6 seed purgatory. I mean, they were good enough to be a playoff team, but not necessarily a team that people took seriously as a championship threat. They came in, they made some of the changes over the offseason. They brought in Akunku, they brought in Tempeden, they brought in Sokolo, and they left some big names. They lost Bobby, they lost Koloslav, they lost Valley, 3 guys that had been around and had contributed to this team, especially Koloslav and Bobby, who were both starters at the wings for this group over the last couple of seasons. Well, that shift in the lineup has helped elevate this team to a whole nother level. Akunku didn't even play last season. The last time he had played was the ECL 24 spring season with Hymo. Tempenen came over from Last Dance. They were Void to Matone last season. And as we mentioned earlier, Sokolo was on a Roots Gaming team that ended up getting relegated. They're not even existent anymore. So they made those shifts. It has worked out to their favor. While on the other end for Parasite, the same team virtually that dominated a season ago, only 1 shift, and that was Ardo coming in, Nikki Dangles being moved out and going to Last Dance. But Ardo, one of the best wingers in the division a season ago, so not too big of a drop-off. You could argue no drop-off there at how good of a player that Ardo is. But Parasite right now, on their heels and their backs against the wall, looking to defend their championship crown. Mythix hoping to knock them off of the top of the mountain. And if they do, that means we will see a brand new champion for the first time this year. As you see both teams now ready to go with the lobby, as we will again be watching from the viewpoint of Mythix, wearing their home navy uniforms, Parasite in their road white and reds. As we get set for game number 5 between Parasite and Mythix. Mythix looking to punch their ticket into the finals. Parasite looking to keep their championship push alive. We're underway for game number 5 as Mythix have possession and they're trying to work their way into the offensive zone. Controlled by Vedux, but bumped off of that puck, and Tombo has some speed up the left side. Pass across, puck loose, stopped, however, by takedown. Jumping at the right side. Under some pressure from Benito and Vatu, and now will force him to go back and reset. Vadu's controlling it here and gives it over to Akunku. Now to Mythix. Got some thrust. And you see Vadu's over on that right side. He did a little 5-point there. He said 4-1. A little bit of gains have been shipped there. He wants to end this thing off 4-1. As we get a look here at the replay, Tepinen beats Unique clean as a whistle. Beautiful play. Another goal for the left winger of Mythix, and they take an early 1-0 lead, and that has to feel like a big goal for Mythix, because you wonder, where is the headspace right now of Parasite? You dominate game 3, but you don't get the win. You lose game 4 in blowout fashion, and now in game 5, Mythix with a chance to seal the series, score a goal not even 3.5 minutes in. So gonna be interesting to see where the headspace and the morale of this Parasite team is. Does it unravel, or can they fight back? Mythix have it in the offensive zone right now. Mike's holding it at the left corner. He's bumped off that puck from Temu and under a lot of duress as they will force the turnover, and here comes Parasite down the other end. Vatu bumped off that puck, but comes back there to Benito. Pass across there, picked off, and here comes Mythix down the other end. Sokolo at the right boards, gives it to Mike's. Mike's holding it to high slot, goes to Akunku at the point. Akunku holding it, gives it up there in the slot, but it's picked off by Temu. Ardo over to Vatu, goes back to Tombo. Tombo to Benito, can't hold on to that puck on the pass attempt. Oh, but Mythix going to get a power play here as a penalty going to be called against Ardo. Let's take a look at what happened. Yeah, that push right there, going to be an interference call against Parasite. A power play coming up for Mythix, their first of this game. We saw them have a power play at the end of game 4, and it looked quite good. So let's see if they can carry that over. Remember, we mentioned it earlier, Mythix in the regular season, 51.1% on the power play, the best power play percentage in the history of the Elite Division. Parasite, the second best penalty kill in the division during the regular season. Mythix working in the offensive end. One-time shot from Tepinen denied by Unique. Puck battled for, nearly cleared out, but not able to. There was Temu. Vaduks controls it for Mythix. Holds it, pass in front, trickles it. Gets crushed for the goal. And Mythix up by 2, and you see Vaduks does it again. That 4-1 hand gesture right in the camera. This is why we love these webcams, guys. It just brings out the personality of these players. But Mythix up 2-0 after that power play goal. Vaduks, his 3rd goal of the series. And all of a sudden, Parasite attacks. And they're talking their talk. It's the Captain Mike's who beats Unique. And now Mythix in the first period up by 3. And we were just saying how you have to wonder where the morale and the headspace of this Parasite team is with the way today has gone for them. You just kind of feel like, though they've had some unfortunate breaks to say the least, you just feel like it's maybe getting to them a little bit. They're not playing at their top level. As Mythix in the offensive zone again, Mike's trying to put on a move, but could not succeed as Mythix, their chances of winning this series have drastically increased. But remember, this is still Parasite, this is still the defending champions, and we still have 7 minutes to go in the first period. So far from over. And if you're Mythix, you know, you want to have your fun, you want to talk your trash, and that's fine and dandy, but there is still a lot of game to go, and you're going up against a hungry team. And when they get angry, it's not always a great sign if they score right there. Sit down, takedown, and 3-0. becomes 3-1 just like that. As we'll get another look at the replay, Ardo with get another goal, his 9th of the playoffs, and you see it right there. Beautifully placed, a precision shot right there from Ardo. Beats takedown right over on that blocker side. And all of a sudden, that lead cut down to 2. And like we were just saying, if you're Mythix, it's great to feel confident, but you don't want to get too ahead of yourself. There is a lot of game left, and now that Parasite does have that 1 goal, they've stopped the bleeding a little bit. Only down by 2, and it's still the first period. A lot to develop here, and we're going to see it all unfold as an offside called there as Mythix tried to work their way forward. Interesting, too, to see Parasite. They didn't use their timeout there to kind of kill off the momentum, maybe saving it for later. As see a lot of teams, when that full pressure meter gets built up on the other side, your stamina gets a little bit low, you want to use that timeout. So Parasite didn't want to waste it right then. They have it in the offensive zone right now as takedown had to be careful. Does get to that puck and holds on for the stoppage. Parasite so far with 3 shots. They have 1 goal. Mythix, 3 shots, 3 goals. So the law of averages tells you that things are going to even out eventually. So we still got a game here, folks. Mythix with a 3-1 series lead, a 3-1 game 5 lead. They look to work it in the offensive end right now. This is Vaydux controlling it. Got that most recent goal for Mythix. This is the Sokolo at the right corner. Working for some space, couldn't find it. This is picked up by Vatu, who will now go up the left side with speed. Gets it up to Tamu, opposite side, a big hit there. Interestingly enough, Akunku, who laid on the hit, actually took the brunt of it. Mythix going to slow things down, not looking to make any mistakes here, holding on to that 2-goal advantage. Turn it over there as less than 45 seconds to play. Parasite now have it in the offensive end. Vatu gives it up to Tamu. Tamu at the right boards, gives it to Vatu. Now the Tombo at the point. Pass to Benito. Pass on one stop by takedown. One more chance here for Parasite. Bumped off of that puck there. And that will do it for a thrilling opening frame. These two teams going back and forth, but it was Mythix with the early charge. 3 unanswered goals to start this game. Parasite able to find their way back with the response, however, to make it 3-1 at the end of the first period. Plenty of action, plenty of goals. And it's interesting how games 4 and 5, everything is kind of shifted from what we saw between these two early on in the series and in the regular season. As if you go all the way back to the regular season, we talked about it, the scores of those 2 games, 2-1 in overtime, Parasite won, 1-0 in overtime, Mythix won. And then the first couple of games of this series, 2-1 Parasite, 3-2 Mythix, 2-1 Mythix. So both teams were kind of in the struggle of a way of goals, but then all of a sudden, Mythix just kind of broke open the dam in game number 4. 4 goals in that game, and they already have 3 goals here in the first period as you get a look at all 3 of those goals here. The Parasite able to coordinate a response to trim the lead down just a little bit as we get set for the second period of this game 5. Once again, Mythix looking to punch their ticket into the finals, up 3-1 in the series. Parasite looking to keep their title defense alive as Benito was trying to put on a move to create some space, but was poked from behind, and now Mythix going down the other end. Tempinen controlling it. Has it over at the left wall. Looking for a play, has some space, and gives it to Akunku at the point. Akunku turning, gives it back to Tempinen. Tempinen behind the net, trying to give it over, but a penalty going to be called against Benito. So the ever so reliable Benito, who we have talked about throughout this series, always seems to step up and make the right play at the best time. Makes a big mistake at the worst time. You see that slashing call right there, and he'll head to the box. And it'll put Mythix back on the power play. They scored on the power play earlier on in the first period. Parasite able to clear that out, and will force Mythix to work their way back into the offensive end. Akunku gives it over to Vaydux. Vadu's controlling it, moving forward, gives it to Akunku. Akunku trying to move it forward towards that left post, but it was disrupted and will force a reset. Halfway through this Mythix power play, a picture-perfect penalty kill so far for Parasite. Exactly what they needed, but they can't get it out of their own zone. Here's a chance, Tempinen to Akunku. Akunku shot blocked in front by Tamu. Another chance, that one saved by Unique. Akunku at the left point, gives it to Vaduz. Finds his way to Mike's. 15 seconds to go on the man advantage for Mythix. As they're going to be forced to reset, and now Benito will come out of the box back to even strength. A big penalty kill there for Parasite to keep this one at a 2-score game as Ardo with some speed. Ardo a one-on-one with Vaduz, pass in front, goes in! Benito cleans it up! And hold on, folks, don't start writing the obituaries yet. Parasite have cut the lead from 3-1. Benito, who we were just saying, he always seems to make the right play at the right time. Does so right there. That pass back kind of just sweeps its way in. How in the world did he hold on to that puck? Well, he managed to do it. You see it right there. Just a little backhand move and takedown, not able to be there for it. And for Parasite, the worst thing you can give them is that feeling of confidence. When they start feeling themselves and the juices are flowing and everything's firing off on all cylinders, that is when this team really starts to open things up. The creativity comes alive, the offense starts to work, and you have a goaltender behind them in Unique, who you've already seen in the series can step up and make some big-time saves that you think that he wouldn't be able to make. This game now down to a 1-goal contest, 3-2 your score. Mythix had 3 unanswered to start things off, but Parasite have responded with 2 goals of their own as they'll get an offensive zone draw coming up. And you see the look at some of the faces there on the bottom of the screen. Mythix, some of the antics kind of calming down a little bit there after seeing 2 straight goals go in past them. You feel like the next goal that is scored in this game could very well not just change this game, but potentially change the series. Mythix have it in the offensive zone. Mike is controlling it at the left wall, but it's poked off his stick, and here comes Parasite down the other end, but they put to a halt, and here comes Mike's, a breakaway from behind, a huge defensive play made by Parasite, and here they come on the counterattack. They dump it in, it's found first by Akunku. So slow things down and set up the offense. And he's actually going to go ahead and just back things up and reset and call his guys back to set up the breakout. Kunku with it. That pass goes errant, and here comes Parasite now down the other way. Batu controlling it. Over at the point, gives it up to Ardo, shot blocked in front, and picked up by Mike's, and now Mythix will move it forward. Vaduz gives it to Sokolo there. Pass it across there, nobody home to pick that one up. Now Parasite in the neutral zone. An offside can be called as they try to work that puck past the blue line. 7:14 remaining in period number 2. We've got a 1-goal game, 3-2 your score. Mythix out in front, but they've seen a 3-goal lead being diminished to just 1. Goals from Tempinen, Mike's, and Vaduz on the Mythix side, while the 2 goals from Parasite from Ardo and Benito. An offside called there as Parasite were trying to get back into the offensive end. Zone draw coming up here. Mike's and Benito at the dot. Tied up and won by Mythix. Ooh, that was almost dangerous. That puck is actually going to be froze too by takedown. So an offensive zone face-off coming up for Parasite, and they didn't have to even do anything. Man, you get a look at the time of attack. 6:12 for Mythix. Parasite under 3 minutes. Just 4 shots on net for Mythix to show for it. But they have... And that's why we said you do not give up on this team. You give them the confidence, and things start to take off from there. And you're seeing a much different looking Parasite team than what we saw in the first period. And you know, You saw some of the celebrating for Mythix? It makes you wonder, was it a little premature? Obviously, if they can earn their way back to a lead and eventually win this game, none of it will matter, but boy, if this thing turns the wrong way, that is going to be quite the scene at the end of the day. As an offside call as Mythix tried to work it into the offensive zone. Less than 5 minutes to play in the second period, and folks, we've gone from 3-0 to 3-3. Parasite respond to Mythix 3 unanswered with 3 unanswered goals of their own. As Mythix have it in the offensive zone, one blockered away by Unique. As Parasite have it, look to push this thing forward. This is Tamu with it, gets past the blue line cleanly and gives it over. To stop by takedown. Big hit there taken on the boards by Mythix. Looks like he may have been injured there as well. As Mythix an offside, and maybe not a bad thing there as they were down a man. As we'll get another look there at that hit on the boards. See it right there, Vatu putting the full brunt of his body there on Mythix. Slow getting up, and the play was half of the ice ahead of him, so he's going to be injured for a few minutes. And something to look out for is Mythix, 3 goals so far today. As someone that likes to push up in the play and drive offense, so we'll see how that maybe hinders him in the rest of this period as Mythix wins the faceoff back to him, and Kunku will now set the offense up. Mikes finds Sokolo. Goes over back to Mikes, but Mythix struggling to cross that blue line as they had to retreat. That's an icing going to be called as it was dumped in, and an offensive zone draw coming up here for Parasite. We were talking about earlier, where's the morale of Parasite? You gotta wonder now where the morale is of Mythix. Everything was flying for them just a few moments ago. They were up by 3, they were celebrating, they could and it's 4-3 in favor of Parasite. If you go for the king, you best not miss. The crown is heavy, but Parasite wears it well. From 3-0 down in their season on the line to up by 1 late in the second period. A stunning turn of events here in Game 5. 30 seconds to go here in the second period. As Mythix look to work it forward, Sokolo has it, but poke checked off of his stick. And Parasite will kill off the remainder of the time. Folks, I didn't think I'd be saying this, I'm not gonna lie to you, but Parasite up 4-3 now in the second period, and you get a look again at some of those face cams. Some more worried expressions on the side of Mythix, while Parasite look dialed in and undeniable right now. And like we were saying before that Vatu goal, you have to wonder, where is the headspace of Mythix? Everything was going so well. The finals were right in front of them. It was in their grasp. A 3-goal lead with a 3-1 lead in the series, and all of it vanishes in front of their very eyes. Now, obviously, still another period to go, but down by 1 in this game. Parasite with all the momentum, with all of the confidence, and with all of the experience in this situation. Remember, Mythix, this is their first time in the semifinals. They have never been in this situation before. They won the FCL, but that's much different than the European Championship League in this elite division. This is new to them. Parasite, they've been here before. They have seen these moments, and they are showing it right now as we are underway for period number 3, and Mythix have it in the offensive zone. Mythix controls it, trying to find a play in front. Puck loose, found by Unique, and he'll hold on for the stoppage, but you're maybe seeing some of that experience difference come to play right now. Mythix will have an offensive zone face-off coming up to the left side of Unique. 1 in the defensive zone by Parasite. Benito controls it, Gives it up to Tombo at the point. Now to Ardo. Back to Tombo. Tombo at the high left face-off circle. Circling around, trying to pass it in front, but it's picked off by Mythix. And now Mythix looks to work their way forward. Templeton controlling it at the left board, but poke checked off the stick. And now Ardo moving up for Parasite. Shot on, saved there by takedown. As Mythix, remember they had 3 shots, 3 goals. They have just 4 shots so far in this game, so they have been stifled ever since that siege they had Parasite under to start this game. Looking for another shot here as they have been completely slowed down. Mythix moves it down low to Sokolo. Trying to find Mythix, but it's intercepted by Vatu. Parasite not able to capitalize, and Mythix working down the opposite end. Mythix ties it up at 4 apiece. A cuckoo scores his first goal of the playoffs. And it couldn't have come at a more critical point. As you get another look at it here, nearly lost that puck, just able to hold on to it. And squeaks it through the 5-hole of Unique. And boy, is that exactly what the doctor ordered for Mythix, allowing 4 unanswered. Parasite with the momentum. And Mythix with a big response. We are tied at 4 apiece here in Game 5. An elimination Game 5. Mythix up 3-1 in the series. Looking to punch their ticket into the final. It will be the first time in club history they have made the ECL Elite Division final. The first time that this club has ever made an ECL final. They've won the Finnish Championship League before. They won that back in late March, early April. Defeated this Parasite team to win their first trophy. They've never done it on the ECL side of things. That pass across to Mythix was intercepted. Parasite, however, looking to defend their championship, looking to add another title. It'll be a ECL record-extending 6th championship for this club. Formerly Valikoitin in Esports, formerly H-Reds. Have it right now in the neutral zone and work it past the blue line. Benito controls it. Holds it over at the right corner, moves it up to the point to Teemu. Teemu holding it, looking for play. Still searching. Turned over on that poke check, and Sokolo with some speed up the left boards. Sokolo gives it up to Akunku. To Tempinen, back to Akunku, back to Tempinen. Over at the left wall, trying to find some space and gives it to Sokolo at the corner, but it's turned over on that poke check, but found again by Tempinen. Shot on was not on net, and now Parasite working it forward. 6.5 to play here in regulation. We are tied at 4 apiece. Mythix with some speed. Mythix trying to spin, but poked off a stick and picked up by Mythix. Mythix to Mythix behind the net. Over at the left corner, back to the point to Akunku. Akunku holding it, walking a tightrope on the blue line. Finds some space, moving forward. Akunku trying to get a play. He still holds on to it. Moves behind the net. Pass to the point, but a little bit off the Tempinen. That will force Mythix to earn their way back into the offensive zone. 3.5 minutes to play. Could we see an elimination game overtime coming up, or will one of these two teams find the winner late in regulation? Parasite in the offensive zone. Benito controls it. Teemu to Tombo. Now to Vatu. At the left corner, back to Tombo. Tombo trying to pass it towards the slot, but it's intercepted. 1.5 minutes to go. Mythix in the offensive end. Mythix holds it. Gives it up to the point to Akunku. Back to Mythix. Mythix shot off the post. Nearly had him dead to rights, but he could not beat that right pipe. Less than 1 minute to go. Parasite in the offensive zone. Vatu gives it to Tombo. Tombo at the left corner, pass to Ardo. Trying to give it up in front, but it's picked off there. And now here comes Mythix down the other way. Mythix controlling it. Less than 40 seconds now. Gives it to Sokolo. Spin move. Up behind the net, found back by Sokolo. Puts on a move, hits the side of the cage on that shot attempt as Mythix gets it and kicks it over to Sokolo. Sokolo at the right corner. Over to Mythix. Mythix back to Sokolo at the right corner. 22 seconds remaining. Mythix holding it, gives it up. Shot on was blocked in front. But was another shot. That one hit the side of the net. Mythix gets it back. 15 seconds to go. Left point. Gates forward, now it's across, loose in front, but found by Vatu. 8 seconds remaining. Parasite with one last rush. Combo with it, hooked off his stick, puck battled for, found by Akunku, recovered by Vedux, and folks, once again, we are going to an overtime. These two teams are darn near inseparable, aren't they? This is the third time in this playoff series that we will go to extra hockey. And it is the 5th time in 7 games that these two teams have played this season that we'll see overtime. But a lot more on the line this time around. A goal for Parasite pushes this series to 6 and keeps their championship defense alive. A goal for Mythix sees them go to their first final in club history as you get another look at the goal that tied this game up from Akunku. Just is able to beat Unique through the 5-hole. As we get set for overtime. A potential series-ending overtime. While we have the chance, we want to make sure we shout out our amazing sponsor, Holding on Not Gonna See, Game Changer, and WellNet for their support of SportsGamer GG and the ECL. We are underway for OT. Mythix looking to end the series and punch their ticket to the finals. Parasite looking to extend this by one more game. Last dance awaits each of these teams. Who's gonna get it? We find out now as Parasite have it in the neutral zone. Benito moves it over to Temu. Picked off there by Akunku. Akunku slowing things down a little bit, trying to move this forward. As the puck finds its way to Unique, he's going to pass that out. Temu will set up the offense with Tombo. That pass intercepted by Sokolo, who will retreat and reset things here for Mythix. Akunku slapped it in the offensive zone, found by Sokolo. Giving up to Vedux. Vedux controlling it at the right wall, pass in front there, disrupted. Puck given chase and loose, found by Tempinen. Tempinen over to Mikes. Mikes shot on, saved there by Unique, and will hold on there for the stoppage. Neither team has reached double-digit shots just yet. Parasite has registered 9, Mythix has 6. An offensive zone draw here for Mythix, but it's 1 in the defensive zone by Parasite. As Tombo and Temu will slow things down and will set the offense up on the break-in. Tombo finds Benito, puck loose, found by Ardo at the right corner, but poked off his stick by Akunku, who tied this game up in the 3rd period for Mythix. Mikes bumped from behind, but found by Sokolo. Up to Nkuku at the point. Akunku at the left wall gives it to Vedux. Vedux holding it, looking for a play. Gives it up to the point to Akunku again. Akunku walking that blue line, trying to find the space there, and goes to Sokolo, who gives it to Vedux. Vedux at the right wall, back to Sokolo. Poked off his stick by Vatu, and here comes Parasite down the other end with speed, but an offside called as Benito picked that puck up, and this wasn't in sync there as they tried to enter the offensive zone. 11:07 to go here in overtime. We will go until we get a winner. Face off tied up there and won by Mythix. Makes a slap shot and passes it to Vedux. Over to Sokolo. Sokolo at the right corner. Gives it to Mikes. Mikes shot on. Looked like that may have hit a piece of the post there, but really no danger on that shot. As here comes Parasite down the other end. Batu bumped off that puck from behind, and Sokolo gives it over to Akunku. Nice little move from Akunku. Puts on the deke. Could not finish it, however, with a chance. And now Parasite try to counterattack. 8.5 to go here in OT. Mythix gonna just completely slow things down, and Parasite set up their trap defensively. Sokolo hit off of that puck, and it's picked up by Temu. Tombo now with it. Moving it into the neutral zone, and past the blue line to Vatu. Found by Benito. Benito to Vatu. Can't get a shot off there. As the puck sprung for, battled, found by Vatu at the left corner. Goes to Tombo at the point. Tombo past to Benito at the slot. Benito bumped from behind, loses possession, but a turnover in Mythix zone end. Vatu with a shot on there. Locked in front. Turned over again. There's Parasite applying the pressure still. Temu with it. Turned over, and Mythix finally able to evade some of the pressure. A deep stretch pass to Tempinen up the left boards. Tempinen with it. Puck loose in front, but found by Parasite. 3.5 minutes now. Parasite with it. Trying to pass that down low, but picked off by Mythix. Mike's now controlling it. And he's going to retreat and reset. Didn't like what he saw. 2.5 to go here in overtime. Akunku past the blue line, gives up to Tempinen. Tempinen to Mike's. Puck found, however, first by Vatu, and Parasite working with speed down the other end, trying to hit Benito, but disrupted there by Mythix. 1 minute to play here in overtime. Can we see 2 OTs? Mike's in front to Tempinen. Puck on the blue line, but found by Unique. Arguably the most dangerous chance so far in this overtime period, right there from Mythix. We'll get an offensive zone draw for their efforts. Will be to the left side of Unique. Tied up. Found by Tempinen. Pass shot on, stopped by Unique. That was Mike's to put that one on net. 45 seconds to go. Parasite sets up the offense. Temu works past the blue line, but poked off his stick. Akunku moves it up to Tempinen. Now to Mike's. Mike's puts on a move, shielding himself from the defender of Tombo. Over at the left boards, tied up and kicks it over to Sokolo. Moves it over to the right corner to Mythix. Puck loose, found by Tombo. He moves up to Vatu. 23 seconds to go. Temu past the blue line for Parasite and into the offensive end, but turned over. Tempinen moves it forward to Mythix. Past the blue line, but lost as Vatu gets that off of his stick, and Parasite will have one more chance for a rush. 10 seconds to go. Tombo in the neutral zone, slapped into the offensive end. Puck given chase, found first by Mythix. Akunku controlling it and gives it up to Tempinen, who's just going to go ahead and kill off the rest of the time, and 1 OT will not be enough. We're going to go to a second, as these two teams are still all knotted up at 4 apiece. And for those of you in the chat, let us know, who do you think is going to get the game winner for either side? Who do you got? As we get a look at the stats here through what is now 4 full periods of play. And the shots pretty even, 9-8 in favor of Parasite, but Mythix over 15 minutes of time on attack. A little over 7 minutes for Parasite. As that was the best chance of the overtime period right there. Tempinen, that spinning backhand, and Unique just able to get a toe on it. All of that space, but just not enough space for Tempinen to get his stick around that right pad of Unique. It keeps the game, the series, in Parasite season alive. As we get set for overtime number 2. We want to once again shout out our sponsors, COVID on Occupancy, Game Changer, and Wellnet, for their support of the ECL and SportsGamer, as Parasite win the neutral zone draw and move it into the offensive zone, but can't hold on to it. It's controlled by Mike's. Gives it up to Mythix, who moves up the ice with speed, but an offside called, as looks like Sokolo was a stride or two ahead of him at the blue line. Neutral zone face-off coming up here between Mike's and Benito. Tied up, scrummed for and found first by Parasite. As Tombo will go back and just set the offense up here on the breakout. Arno with it, holding it and gives it to Benito. Over at the left corner. And the defending champs are still alive in the series. Big-time players show up in big-time plays, and Benito, as he always seems to do, steps up for his team. He wears the C on his chest for a reason. He keeps the defending champions alive in this series, and may very well just made the moment that shifts the narrative of these playoffs entirely. We are not done here yet today, folks. Benito keeps things alive as he get another look at it right there. Beats takedown over on that short side as clean as he could. And Benito, the captain, the center, and arguably one of the most clutch playoff performers that we have ever seen in the ECL. He's a legend of the game. You can't tell the story of this division without mentioning his name. He does it again and keeps Parasite alive in this series and keeps their hope to defend their title alive for at least one more game. And remember, folks, Mythix was up 3-0 at the beginning of the first period. And man, oh man, if Parasite somehow find their way to win this series, this is a game and this is a goal that will be remembered in the ECL history books for many years to come. You get another look at it. It just feels like Parasite always seem to find a way. As we'll bring you back into the booth. B Major with you. What a game that we had right there. Mythix a 3-0 lead with a 3-1 series lead. Parasite score 4 unanswered. Mythix tie it up, make it 4-4. We go to double overtime. And who else but Benito to win it for Parasite? We know we've got at least one more game on tap. Mythix still up 3-2 in the series. But Parasite, they've given them the one thing you don't want to give them, and that's confidence and belief. Can they pull off the comeback? We'll find out here in just a few minutes. We're going to take a short break, get things set up for Game 6, and when we come back, we will have puck drop. Don't go anywhere, my friends. Why in the world would you when we've got games going on like this? We will be right back in just a few moments.
Welcome to the SportsGamer Health and Performance Program. Nice to have you here. Here you have a large amount of different workouts from Wellnet, but also material just exclusive for you gamers. In your sessions, we focus mostly on neck and shoulder mobility, back health, and concentration. So give it a try and let us know what you think about it.
Money, baby.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. I didn't think we'd be here, not gonna lie to you, but we've got Game 6 action on tap. Mythix up 3-2 in the series, but they had a chance to close it out. They were up 3-0 in Game 5, squandered that lead, and Parasite won 5-4 in double OT. Can they do it this time, or will we get a Game 7 from Sokolo tonight? Unique. We are again watching from Mythix's perspective. They're wearing their road white and blues, Parasite in their all red home uniforms. They have him in the offensive zone right now. Vatu trying to kick it over to his left, but ends up getting it back anyways. Combo at the point. To Benito. He got the game-winning goal in that double overtime win. Combo now with it again. Searching over at the left boards, trying to find the play, gives it up to Benito at the slot. Back to Tombo at the point. Combo to Vatu. Vatu puts it down low, and it's found by Benito again. Benito holding at the faceoff quickly. Gives it back to Tombo. Beautiful cycle right now from Parasite, but Mythix not allowing a shot on net. Could this be their chance? They try to get something there, but couldn't as that pass is errant. And Mythix will escape without any danger. It's moved forward here, and Mythix not able to do much on that offensive possession as Batu has it. Take it off of his stick, and he gets it back. A save by Takedown. As you get another look there, some of the replays, and it's going to be interesting to see what exactly Mythix is going to look like here in this Game 6. They had a chance to close it out, weren't able to do it. Maybe got a little bit overconfident there. We kind of mentioned it during those 3 goals that they got to start that series. You saw some of the hand gestures. You saw one guy doing the W gesture. You saw a 4-1 gesture from one as well. You know, you gotta wonder, maybe a little overconfidence there, and they put their foot off the gas pedal. And again, Parasite is one of those teams, when you give them that belief, when they have that confidence, they're such a difficult opponent to beat. We talked about it during the quarterfinals. There's just such little margin for error against a team like this. When you have that opportunity to close it out, you cannot let it slip. Parasite able to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat and earn themselves a Game 6. They have it now in the offensive zone. It's controlled by Benito. His shot doesn't go on net. He was poked from behind, loose in front, but found there by Mythix. Ardo controlling it. One time. Down. And Parasite kick off the scoring here in Game 6. As we'll get another look at it here. Lots of space for Ardo as he just gets that move there past the defender, Vedux. It wasn't terribly defended, but one-on-one was able to get enough space to get that shot on takedown to put it in the back of the net, and it is a 1-0 lead here for Parasite. Trying to push this series to a 7th game. Who would have thought that 30 minutes ago? They have it again in the offensive zone. Vatu is controlling it, but it's lost, and here comes Mythix down the other way. Tempinen gives it to Mike. It's poked off of his stick and found by Teemu. Teemu, beautiful spin move, but a better defensive play made by Akunku. And again, if you're Mythix, where is the headspace at for them? Where is the morale at? The deflation of feeling like you're about to clinch your spot in the finals to losing that 3-goal lead and then losing in double overtime. Just makes you wonder where they are right now mentally and just their morale in general. Especially just knowing who Parasite is, just the aura that they come with. That is a thing. They have that aura where you know they are kind of the team to beat, the team that has always dominated and has found their way in these final series season after season. There's an intimidation to that for a lot of teams going up against a team like this on this big of a stage, the entire community watching, and going to be interesting to see the response from Mythix as it's a 3-on-1 for Parasite. Tombo controlling a pass in front, but poked away there off of the stick of Vatu. Tombo does get it back and gives it to Benito. Tombo at the point, 5 seconds left. Benito now with it. Toe drag move, couldn't get the shot off, as that will do it for the opening period of game number 6. Parasite with a 1-0 lead over Mythix. As you get another look here at the replay of that big hit that Akunku took. But it was the goal from Parasite. Ardo sniping one in past the glove hand of Takedown. Give Parasite that advantage. As we get another look here at the stats, woo, 3+ minutes of time on attack there for Parasite. They have been all over this Mythix team. There's one more look there at the goal. Vadux looked like he was there, was maybe fortunate or not fortunate rather that he didn't get a tripping call. That would have avoided the shot on net more than likely, but see 5:43 time on attack to 1:42, 3 shots to 1 in favor of Parasite. Just feels like Mythix has lost a little bit of that mojo that they had in Game 4 and in the beginning of Game 5. They're going to have to recapture it here as we are underway for the second frame of this Game 6. Again, last dance awaiting the winner of this series in our Elite Division Final. We'll have coverage of that this weekend. Date and time to be announced as Mythix working it in the offensive zone. Hit for Mythix. And you see a much calmer demeanor on the face cams this time around, but still all smiles, still having a good time, and rightfully so. That's what it's all about at the end of the day as we get a look at the replay. Sokolo able to put that backhand, beats Unique cleanly. And Sokolo, who we've seen step up multiple times for this Mythix team, does so again here. Ties this thing at 1 apiece, just the second shot of the game for Mythix, and we're all evened up once again. Hamu trying to move it forward, but that pass was disrupted. Mythix gonna look to set up the offense now. Big goal there for this Mythix team. Exactly what they needed is a potential play for Mike. Shot in front there was stopped by Unique. As Benito now with some speed and gives up to Ardo. Ardo splits the defense, trying to find a backhand shot, but it's poke checks from behind, and Mythix able to get out of their own end without any danger. Pass attempt to Mike is intercepted by Tombo, who will set the offense up now for Parasite. Passes the blue line, poked off the stick by Tempinen. Found by Temu. Temu trying to work into the offensive end, but loses that puck, and now Mythix working down the opposite way. Tombo holds it. Gives it up to Temu. Back to Tombo. Tombo trying to find Vatu, but intercepted by Vadux. Sokolo controls it. Has it over at the left wall. Big hit there, laid on by Ardo. Sokolo picked up an injury there. As you see, he's working his way back slowly. Mythix setting the offense up as Tempinen controls the puck and is trying to find the pass, but Parasite putting on the pressure, and they're going to turn it over in their own end. Benito not able to hold on to that puck as now Mythix able to get out, and they push this thing forward with Mike's. From behind there, nice defensive play made by Ardo. Tombo moves it past the blue line, evades the defender of Sokolo, and gives it up to Benito, and it finds its way to Ardo at the corner. Back to Benito, up to Temu at the point. Temu, back to Benito, back to Temu. Back to Benito at the slot, but picked off there by Mike's, and now Mythix with speed into the offensive end. Nikkei's at the left corner, under duress, and picked up by Ardo. Ardo's been all over the place defensively for this Parasite team. Known as a goal scorer, but showing off the defensive muscle so far in this game. It's a block there on the shot from Tombo. Hits it back and gives it up to Benito. Back to Tombo at the point. Tombo looking. Gets past Sokolo for now and gives it back to Vatu. Vatu back to Tombo at the left wall. Gives up to Benito, and now the Ardo back to Benito behind the net. Benito shot on there, stopped by takedown. It's a pass in front, picked up by Vedu's. Dangerous chance there for Parasite. They nearly found their second goal. So you have it now in the neutral zone. Benito controls it. Giving up to Vatu. Vatu disrupted there from behind, and Mythix creates a turnover. 5 minutes to go here in the second period, knotted up at 1 apiece. Parasite's goal coming from Ardo. Mythix's goal coming from Sokolo, the 2 right wingers scoring for each of these 2 teams. Tombo moves it forward to Benito, over to Vatu. Couldn't get a shot off as it was poked from behind. Ardo over at the right face-off circle. Goes over to the corner to Vatu, tied up at the boards, and kicks it over back to Ardo. Puck found over the left corner by Tombo. Tombo with some space. Gives up to Vatu again. Vatu wraparound shot, stopped by takedown. Another shot gloved in by takedown. He's going to freeze this with 2:05 to go here in period 2. First time in a while that we've had a stoppage. Remember, that was that big hit there that Sokolo took earlier on. That was closer to the halfway point of the second period. So a while since we've had a stoppage, but these 2 teams liking the pace and keeping everything in front of them so far, tied at 1 apiece. Offensive zone face-off here for Parasite, but 1 in the defensive zone by Mythix. Sokolo gets it and moves it to his left to Tempinen. Tempinen, pass in front. His second goal of the game. As we'll get another look at it, how about the pass across there from Tempinen, who we've talked about as a goal scorer throughout these playoffs? That pass threads the needle to perfection. And Sokolo, with no doubt about it, puts that one in the back of the net. So Mythix with a 2-1 lead now. And it's tied up in the neutral zone and won by Mythix. Picked up and found by Parasite. Temu working it into the neutral zone and moves it forward. Picked up by Mythix first. 15 seconds to go. Tempinen to Mythix. Mythix holding it. Pass over to Sokolo. Couldn't hit anyone on that pass across. One more chance here for Mythix as Akunku gives it to Mythix. Shot on there. Blockered away by Unique, as that will do it. 40 minutes down. 20 minutes of regulation to go. Mythix with a 2-1 lead. 1 period away from punching their ticket into the finals. They couldn't do it in Game 5. Can they close it out here in Game 6? To find out here is get another look at a few of the plays as Mythix has been able to find their way to a couple of goals. All for Parasite, their backs against the wall again, but we've seen them already in this series find their way. As we get a look here at the goal that tied things up. Beautiful pass there from Tempinen over to Sokolo. Beats Unique, actually hits in off of the glove of Unique in the process. And you find that goal right there from Sokolo, from Tempinen. Once again, the wing duo just absolutely stellar so far today. As we get set for period number 3 in Game 6. Mythix looking to seal the deal. Parasite looking to push this to a decisive Game 7. Neutral zone face-off here coming up. It's won by Parasite and found by Vatu. Works it down low to Ardo. Ardo trying to pass it across, but nobody home as Temu gets it, and it's found to Tombo. Tombo at the high left point gives it to Vatu. One-time shot from Temu goes wide. Temu controlling it. Turned over there as here comes Tempinen down the other end. Tempinen up the left boards with speed. Tempinen pass across it. Makes it a 3-1 score. And Mythix have doubled their lead to 2 here in the third period of Game 6. Parasite needing a response. They have it in the offensive zone here. Temu giving it up to Benito. His shot saved by takedown. Tempinen up the left boards again with speed. He has possession, gives us a little shot in front there, stopped by Unique. He plays that out, dangerously so, but Tombo gets to it. Moved up to Vatu. Vatu holding it, makes a move, backhand shot, stopped by takedown, and he'll hold on for the stoppage. Offensive zone draw here coming up for Parasite. Mythix are able to get out of their own end quickly and move this forward to Tempinen. Tempinen with some space there as Parasite create the turnover and now work it into the offensive end. Tombo over to Vatu, gives it back to Tombo. Can't get the shot off cleanly. It's picked up by Akunku, and now Mythix working his way forward. Tempinen with it at the left wall, gives it back to Mikes. Off from behind, and now Parasite working down the other end. Ardo past the blue line into the offensive end. Parasite need a goal and soon. That pass picked off by Sokolo, and here he comes with speed. Gives it to Tempinen. Could not find much there, however. And Mythix gonna reset the clock. Their best friend right now. They're up by 2, 11 minutes to go here in regulation. And a 3-2 series lead. Can they hold on to it, or does Parasite have one more comeback up their sleeve as a pass across disrupted? The pick back up by Temu as the wraparound shot saved by takedown. Another offensive zone draw coming up here for Mythix. It's a pass across there. Finds no one, and now Parasite trying to work down the other end. Turned over, but they get it back. Benito turned it over again, and now Mythix have possession. 8.5 to play. Tempinen with it, poked off his stick by Vatu, and Mythix gonna reset. They're fine with that, kills off a little more time. Mikes puts on a move, gets past the blue line. Nice little deke there, and gives it up to Tempinen. Tempinen shot on, puck loose over towards Sokolo. He works it behind the net and gives it back up to the high right point. Vedux with it. Gives it back to Sokolo at the right wall. Dumped around to the opposite end boards and found by Akunku. Akunku held by Tombo as he takes possession, and now Parasite running out of time. 5:40 to play here in the third period, and they're down by 2. The defending champions are on the brink. One-time shot from Tombo, stopped by takedown. 10th shot of the game there for Parasite. Tombo with it again, draws a tripping penalty, and a power play coming up here for Parasite. Vatu with it, gives it up to Tombo. One-time shot hits the post. Temu with it again, still has possession. It's scrum forward, found by Ardo. As a power play now coming up for Parasite, Sokolo will head to the box. And it looks like Mythix going to call a timeout as that full pressure meter for Parasite was really starting to creep up there. Well, if you joined us a little bit late in the broadcast, you've missed just a doozy of a presentation here today. We came into today with the series tied at 1 apiece. Both of those first 2 games were decided by a goal. Mythix won game number 1 in overtime. Game 3 rather. Game 4 They're able to win convincing fashion, a 4-1 victory over Parasite, and then Game 5 looked like it was going to be more of the same. Mythix up 3-0. The Parasite score 4 unanswered, make it 4-3. Mythix tied it up at 4 apiece, and then Parasite in double overtime win it with a goal from Benito. That pushed it here to this Game 6. The Parasite started out with that 1-goal lead from Ardo on his shot. Mythix have scored 3 goals unanswered since and are 2.5 minutes away from their first ever finals appearance in the ECL. Can they seal the deal, or does Parasite have a little more magic left in them? So far, the power play has been non-effective for Parasite. 30 seconds to go and not a shot on net yet. They have it in the offensive zone again. Ardo gives it to Vatu. Back to Tombo. Tombo to Benito. Shot on. Another chance there. It's the side of the net. Now Sokolo out of the box. 1 minute remaining. Parasite pushing, pressuring, looking for anything. And hold on, folks, we've seen this before. Benito cuts the lead down to 1. And Parasite still have a little bit of life. Three to 2 your score in the game and the series in favor of Mythix. 54.6 seconds remaining. Does Parasite have 2 more goals in them? Mythix have it in the offensive zone. It's turned over. Here comes Vatu for Parasite. Gives it to Temu, but poked off his stick by Kunku, who will just dump this one out of danger. And an icing going to be called with 38 seconds remaining. Face off to the left side of takedown. Tied up. Found it first by Mythix, but Parasite gets to it. Temu bumped from behind, but picked up by Benito. Benito, pass in front, was intercepted by Sokolo, not able to get it out for now. Mythix still trying to get this out. Akunku dumps it in the neutral zone, and it's found by Sokolo. Less than 20 seconds remaining. Parasite, last gasp here for the defending champions. Do they have 1 more, maybe 2 more goals? It's dumped in the Vatu, up to the point to Tombo. Tombo to Benito. Benito passed across, nobody there. 5 seconds remaining, last chance for Parasite. Tombo needs a shot. It's check. History of the Elite Division Finals. The champs are no more. They do what so few have been able to do in the past. They knock off Parasite in the semifinals. And a Mythix team that coming into the season was seen as a team in purgatory, a team that was just trying to find their way into a semifinals round. They had made the playoffs in their first 2 seasons, but were ousted easily those 2 times. The question this season, could they elevate to a championship contender? Now, they have elevated to a finals team. Mythix defeats Parasite in 6 games, and you see Mythix letting them know. The captain for this Mythix team, the longtime captain of this Mythix team, all the way back when they were Bjork Lovin Esports. This team hasn't been around for that long. This is just their 3rd season in the Elite Division. Yet here they are in the Elite Division final in the spring 25 season. As you get a look at how Mythix were able to do it, that was the goal that gave them that 2-goal advantage, and man, it's a good thing they got it, because Benito, once again, look at that toe drag move to create the space for that shot. That is a Benito special right there. He has done that a lot of times over the years. But it was not to be for Parasite today. The defending champions are knocked out in the semifinals. So we bring you back into the studio. Brandon B, Major Bigsby with you, and Mythix take out Parasite in 6 games. It got a little scary for them there at some points, but They were able to get the job done. Congratulations to them. And on the other side, for Parasite, obviously, we had talked about it coming into the season. This is a team that's going to have a massive target on their back, and it wouldn't be fair to expect this team to replicate what they did a season ago. As you mentioned, they lost just one game in the entire regular season last season. Nobody could expect them to do that. They were the highest scoring team in the history of the Elite Division last season, averaged over 5 goals per game. That's how good this team was. But they took a little bit of a step back this season. You can't deny that. And some of the feeling is that, hey, as great as Parasite are, and as much as you don't want to go against them, there's just something about this team that they aren't as overwhelmingly dominant as it's looked in the past. Even before last season, this is a team that has been undeniably dominant in past seasons. You just never felt like Parasite was convincingly dominant throughout points of the season. And Mythix able to knock out Parasite in 6 games. Some may call it an upset. Some may call it a new team planting their flag on the top of the ECL mountain as we give you a look at the bracket for one final time. And folks, our final in the Elite Division is confirmed. The 1 versus the 2 seed. Last Dance will wait, or they have waited rather, and they now know who they will face. They will go up against Mythix, the 2 seed. A first-time final that we have never seen before. Last Dance, a team that has so many old names. They have 13 of the 19 championships in this league's history on its roster between Eki, Nicky Dangles, Hanselinho, and Puanzo. That's 13 of the 19 championships in the history of the ECL on this team. Now, obviously, that goes through different teams. You go back to Ridden in the Stars, you go back to Havu, you go back to Linköping, you go back to Philadelphia, H-Rez, and then obviously Parasite with the addition of Nicky Dangles. So much of the ECL's history is woven through that Last Dance roster. And they will face off against the new kids on the block, Mythix, who are looking to etch their name in ECL history, or hoping to confirm their place into that championship. They would be the 20th champion in the history of this league. And as you can see, the date and the time officially set. Sunday evening, June 15th. Our coverage will start at 19 CEST. I will be on the call live with you for that at twitch.tv/ReactTheoMedia. We will be covering the entirety of that series, games 1 through 7. As again, Mythix, the new kids on the block, their first ever finals appearance. They had never been here before. And as you can see, it is now confirmed. Mythix into the finals. They knock out Parasite. Last Dance will be going up against them here in that series. One of the most historic teams in the history of this division, over 950 games played in the history of this Last Dance club. You go back to the days of Philadelphia and Linköping and Frölunda HC. One of the most historic clubs in this league's history will go up against one of the newer clubs in Mythix that has earned their way to this point. How about this? Mythix, 112 games played all time as a club. Well, as we mentioned, Last Dance, the official number for them, 959 games. Absolutely stunning. The old versus the new, and obviously the retirement news of Eki, one of the historic players in the ECL and in all of NHL Esports, announcing a few weeks ago that this will be his last competitive 6v6 tournament, at least for the time being. Can Last Dance send him off into the sunset with one more elite title? You're not going to miss it, folks. Twitch.tv/ReactTheoMedia. Again, Sunday evening. Our coverage will start at 19 CEST. You can also find us live on our YouTube at ReactTheoMedia or on our X account at SportsGamer GG, as we'll bring you back into the booth for one final time. Mythix does it. They knock off Parasite. The defending champions are done. There will be no repeat champion this year, folks. It's going to be a new name. It's going to be a champion. For the last few seasons, it had been alternated between Tunnel Vision and H-Reds and Parasite. Now, it's going to be a totally different champion. As we mentioned, that whole Parasite team was filled with guys from H-Reds and Tunnel Vision. They kind of merged and came together a little bit. Well, now, we're going to have some new names as champion, as really the only player that is a champion in a recent season is Nikki Dangles on Last Dance. He is the only one with a recent title. The most recent championship winner since then, Eki, all the way back in ECL 11 with Philadelphia. It's going to be some new names, folks. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're not going to miss it. Make sure you're here right with us on Sunday evening. But for now, that wraps up our coverage here today. A big thank you to Ken and the SportsGamer GG staff for everything they do to keep things running here in the ECL. A big shout out to our amazing producer, Chris Ryan, who put on this broadcast behind the scenes. The best in the business, bar none. So thankful for him and all the work that he puts in. A shout out to our sponsors once again, Covenant, Game Changer, and WellNet for their amazing support. And a big thank you to you all for joining us once again here today, as we will be right back here on Friday as well. Remember, our ECL 1v1 top 4 finals. We'll be starting our coverage there at 18 CEST. Tebu versus Kapusta, Sisu versus Nikki Dangles. It's going to be a long stream, folks, so you're not going to miss any of it. I will be on the call with Sopely for that one. Again, twitch.tv/ReactioMedia, or you can go on YouTube at ReactioMedia, or on X at SportsGamerGG. So make sure you join us here tomorrow for that. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you on Friday for 1v1 action, and right back here on Sunday for our Elite Division final. My name is Brandon B. Major Bigsby. Have a great, safe, blessed, and healthy rest of your night.
Welcome to the SportsGamer Health and Performance Program. Nice to have you here. Here you have a large amount of different workouts from WellNet, but also material just exclusive for you gamers. In your sessions, we focus mostly on neck and shoulder mobility, back health, and concentration. So give it a try and let us know what you think about it.